In this video, we will look at how to tag each character name to their respective recordings in the timeline for editing purposes later. We will also look at how to add bookmarks and line notes to recordings in the timeline, which will allow you to keep track of where you are in bigger projects. We will also go over how to create multiple copies of a project so you can focus on different sections of the same script, then add them all together for playback purposes in the project screen. Let's first look at tagging each character name to their respective recordings in the timeline for editing purposes, because this is the first thing you should do when you enter the editing screen from the Setup Project screen. When you enter the editing screen for the first time, you will notice all the recordings from the Instant Record screen appear in the timeline in the same order they were recorded and with their recording duration on them. You will also notice that the Tag Audio icon in the bottom navbar has been automatically activated, and a flashing red prompt in the metallic band above the character names instructs you to select a character and tag their recordings in the timeline. If you have an actual paper printout of the script, you can refer to this to tag the characters to the recordings. You can also play the project to identify which character's recording is being played, or if you've previously saved a soft copy of the script at the time of recording the project in the Instant Record screen, you can refer to this by pressing on the note icon in the navbar. However, one thing to remember is that if you activate the notes screen, you've deactivated the tagging command, so you will need to press on the Tag Audio icon in the navbar to continue tagging. Let's begin tagging by playing the audio, selecting the first character in the character panel, and checking the script in the note screen as it plays. Editing instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can see here that the character name is highlighted in the character panel when selected, and when you match the character to the recording in the timeline, it will display that character's colour. Once you've tagged all recordings, the Tag Audio function will automatically deactivate, and you can then play the timeline back and cross-check with the script as it plays. Editing instructions. 1. Once you're happy that all tagging is correct, you can now add any bookmarks or line notes to the recordings in the timeline, which will allow you to keep track of where you are in bigger projects. By bookmarking a recording, you are simply displaying a number on the recording in the timeline as a reference. To bookmark a recording, just select the bookmark icon in the edit panel. Once the icon is highlighted, tap on the recordings you wish to bookmark, and they will be identified in the timeline with a number. Now press on the bookmark icon again and the change will be saved. To remove a bookmark from a recording, repeat the process. Tap on the bookmark icon in the edit panel. All the bookmark recordings will be highlighted with a dark border. Deselect the recording so the number disappears. Then press on the bookmark icon in the edit panel again to save the change. If you want to add another bookmark at a later stage, it will be numbered in the order it is positioned in the timeline. So any bookmarked recordings after it will have their number increase by 1. The same applies if a bookmark is deleted. Any bookmark recordings after it will decrease by 1. Other than the bookmark function, another way to keep track of recordings in large projects is to use the Add Line Note function. This allows you to insert and display a note or text from the script that will appear in the top metallic band as the recording passes under the timeline marker in playback. Now, to do this, just locate the recording you want to add the line note to. Once it is under the timeline marker, double tap on the character name in the top metallic band. A keyboard will appear so you can type in the note or line from the script as a reference point. Then press return on the keyboard and it will be saved. You can also go directly to the script by accessing the notes screen, highlight and copy the corresponding text with the recording, then double tap on the name in the top metallic band, hold down, press paste, and return on the keyboard, and the line note will now be saved as a reference point anytime the recording passes under the timeline marker in playback. Now that you have a recorded, tagged and bookmarked project, this is the best time to make multiple copies of it. Other than for safeguarding your work, the purpose of creating multiple copies of a project is to allow you to work on smaller specific sections of the same script without having to record the same dialogue more than once. So essentially, if you've recorded the entire script or entire scene earlier in the instant record screen, but it is too much to concentrate on all at once in playback, you can make multiple copies of the same project and then edit each of them to focus on different sections of the overall project or script. Once you've done this, you can then later group each of these projects together in the project screen to play and rehearse the entire script in the correct order. Always keep the original source project untouched in case you need it to create additional copies at a later stage. To make additional copies for editing different sections of the script, simply press on the edit icon in the bottom navbar and then press on the save as icon at the bottom of the screen. A prompt will appear allowing you to save the project as a duplicate file with a new project name. Enter the new project name and select Yes to save. You will now be inside the newly created copy of the original project. To make another identical copy, repeat the same process but enter a different project name. In this example, you can see we made 3 copies which are named Editing Screen 1A, 1B and 1C, which can be found in the project screen by pressing on the next icon in the top right corner of the editing screen. To re-enter these projects, simply press on the arrow to the left of the project name. You can now edit and customize them however you like by using the other functions in the edit panel. Once each of them has been edited, you can go back into the project screen and play them individually, or group them all together and play them one after the other in the order they were selected. Information and instructions on the other editing functions and all other screens can be found in separate videos on the website.